Right, this is it's a new one for me. Two Finger Media talks to Jack, Felipe, and Laz via Zoom. How this works and how it turns out, we'll see. But welcome, guys, and thanks for talking to me.
Hello.
Nice to see you, man.
Hello, thanks for having us.
Well, hey, that was never proven, and it never will be. Right, lockdown. Obviously, you guys, the same as the rest of the country, have been suffering this lockdown shit going on. I know, Jack, you've been doing loads and loads of live streams and stuff like that, and I've seen, I think, Laz and Felipe, you've been doing lessons, drum lessons, bass lessons.
Just little playthroughs of how to play this song.
Yeah. So is that something that you enjoy doing and is a bonus part of this lockdown?
Well, in terms of the playthroughs, we thought, before this lockdown happened, I think it was actually the week of the lockdown, we set up a channel for the Jack J. Hutchinson Band TV channel, just to put anything on the behind the scenes stuff, because we always
erotica,
all of it, the snuff film. We always have so much fun in the car. We just chat shit and just have a lot of laughs, and we think we get some of it on film, but you can't put it out as an official video. So I thought, why don't we just make a YouTube channel? We've got me and Felipe doing our Mario Kart tournaments, a little behind the scene of what do you call it, where you speed up the video of us setting up for a sound check. And I thought we'd stick some bass playthroughs on. Jack asked
little time lapses and all sorts.
Yeah, everything, just as a bit of a things for people to look at and get into for this lockdown. And
you've got obviously Dobby now, who can be. Johnny, not Dobby. That was a missing there. As part of your crew now, obviously Mr. Merch himself.
Yes, I mean it's been great having John with us, because it's like he's always in a good mood, always smiling, and it makes us laugh. And
apart from when Arsenal lose.
Oh yeah.
I was going to say, do you think that's wind, or do you think that's his nature?
He's at every live stream, isn't he? He's always the first one watching. Little do you know, Will, that whilst Johnny's watching our live Q&As, he's got a merch stand set up at home.
And he sells T-shirts to himself.
Jack could tell you this. I was talking to Johnny the other morning, and he was stood in the queue for Sainsbury's, and we were discussing something. So, yeah, I can well believe that.
Yeah, I tried to add into my Sainsbury's order last week, but they wouldn't accept it.
Mr. Multitask himself. But, no, seriously, though, the bass playthroughs and stuff, I think, are a real godsend for most musicians that want to sort of learn how you guys actually put songs together and put different parts of it. So obviously, Jack, you do your solo sessions, live sessions and stuff, which is great. But obviously, people can't really keep up with what you're doing. The same with Laz when you're playing on stage. Same with Felipe. It's really good that you break it down to a level that Joe Public can actually watch and even learn from, which is brilliant.
Well, I'll tell you what, Will, I did my first guitar tutorial this afternoon. I recorded it. And what it basically made very clear to me is that I have no fucking idea what I've written in my songs. I had to look up the chords to Winds of Change. I was like, well, I don't know what that chord is. And so I'm in my video, obviously trying to profess that I'm really knowledgeable about it. But I don't care. I've got a Zakk Wylde guitar. That's all I care about. But it's God, it took me about 2 hours to put it together. And so, I've got a lot more sort of understanding of what Felipe and Laz do and what they contribute to the band now, because basically they're just holding the whole fucking thing together.
Just allowing you just to go off and express yourself. And it's
our job.
It's never the same twice, Laz, I would imagine. You try and follow him, but no point.
I think Jack's job is to write the music, and our job is to understand the music and translate it back to back. Pretty much.
And allow him the freedom just to...
Yeah. So sometimes it's like
pretty in photos and do my Steel Panther thing in pose for photographers like Will and look all sexy, and then you guys are the ones that actually make it all sound good. So there you go.
It's funny. I mean, we do, myself and Felipe, we do it a lot, and the proper phrase to use is behind Jack's back, because we are literally talking about it behind Jack's back, but not in the.
You are?
We are
talking about me behind my back.
Not in the horrible sense.
Makes that easier.
But what we do is me and Felipe often we do get into the musical depths of each song. So I don't know, we'll come off the stage one night and we'll go back, we'll go upstairs, have a beer and just hang out for a bit. And I'll say, Felipe, do you know, I think for the fourth bar of the solo of Rattlesnake Woman, we should do a build. So let's start it off with a bit of, let's start off pianissimo and we'll work our way up and get to forte. Me and Felipe, as Felipe just said, we have to translate what Jack wants to hear from an album or from a song he's written into a live performance that does
Good song title, that, Laz.
yeah, that does the song justice and that does all three of our musical talents justice. And if me and Felipe can hold down the rhythm, then Jack can just go off and do whatever the fuck he wants. And that's what happens most nights, and that's why I love playing in this band.
So you and Felipe though, you're building that sort of base, and you keep it there. And does Jack get involved in your little changes, or does he just literally automatically just go with it during the gig?
Well, I think.
Well, I
go on,
have something to say about it. I think when you're a songwriter like Jack, you want to feel the music. You don't want to think the music. I think, and if you overthink and overanalyze, what is that?
The traffic jam outside someone's house.
That's mental.
It's not. I think it's John.
Is it?
Who's got the vuvuzela?
Oh God! Who's doing that? We're gonna keep bending too, isn't it? It should be John. It's gotta be John. Oh God!
That's crazy. There's a car crash going on outside one of our houses.
Right here.
Let's.
Never work with kids, animals, or Zoom.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Is that it? Is that the end? Can I talk now?
What's that? That's not coming from my end.
I think it's John.
It looks like
from
a
mine,
John. It comes up with John's icon or whatever it is.
There shouldn't be any traffic around it.
There it goes.
There we go.
It's supposed to be 8 o'clock, the clapping for the carers, isn't it?
Oh,
No, I haven't joined them.
It is John. He says there's some cars driving up the street. We'll go and mute the mic. Sorry. This is. I hope people can hear this when this interview goes out.
Yeah.
Hear this bit.
Leave this all in, Will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, guys. It appears to be a parade of truckers. Literally, there's about 50 of them.
Yay!
So sorry.
That's all right, John. Thank you.
John, can you open the window and just have a word, mate?
Better than that, I'll do this.
That's good,
Thank you, John.
That's been the best bit of the interview.
As you well know, guys, I never, ever, ever edit my interviews. So, yeah, it's
Then let's skip it. It's going to be awesome. I was saying, I have it written down here, so I'm going to read it. No, I'm joking. As I was saying, I think when you're the songwriter, you want to feel the music more than think about the music. And Jack got his ideas out of like real life situations, and just want to write about it and come up with riffs and melodies. And he usually does not think about bar countings and time signatures, because as a songwriter you shouldn't be doing that. I mean, in my opinion, it's just like playing whatever feels right. But obviously me and Laz, when we're learning the songs, we can't just feel the music. We have to analyze and try to understand what's going on. So we talk to each other. So
there's some very unorthodox stuff, isn't there? Jack,
yeah.
See, this I'll tell you how much me and Felipe know about Jack's music. Jack is a fan of making a 7-bar chorus.
7 bar.
Because most choruses, just to feel even, it's 4 bars of one phrase, then 4 bars of a repeated phrase with some difference. That's how most choruses are. But Jack favours 7-bar choruses, and guess what? They work. So,
but I bet he doesn't know.
I have no idea what on earth you guys are talking about.
But yeah,
all I know if I write a song and it reminds me of like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin and a bit of the Allman Brothers, I think, wait, I've done all right. I don't understand what the hell you're talking about. And I think, you know, my musical heroes, people like Neil Young, John Lennon, you know, John Lennon, I very much doubt he'd sit there and assess the number of bars that he's put in songs. And it's whether it touches you, and it's whether it, you know, even riffs, whether riffs affect you emotionally. And that's how I've always written. That's how I've written for 20 years. And I think that's probably why certain songs I've put out have connected with people, because I don't approach it from a technical standpoint. I'm a guitar player that doesn't approach songs from, okay, I'm going to write a guitar solo and then a bit of stuff around that. I just don't care about that kind of attitude. And yeah, I see a lot of people who have a different approach, and ultimately you want songs that are about life and affect people in a deeper way.
Are you still, I mean, you said right at the start of the lockdown, I think that you via WhatsApp were sending riffs to Laz or Felipe, and they were sending bits and pieces back. Are you still building songs that way? Is that still the ongoing process?
Literally 20 minutes before this started tonight, this interview, I was demoing another song. Like, I've written another song today. So we've got about 15 new songs, and like the one today, it's great. I think it's a killer track. It's got so many riffs in it. It's like sort of taking the approach to songwriting that I've had over the last couple of albums, which have steadily got heavier, I think, and just taking it to its extreme. And there's some pretty nifty stuff on there, really kind of doom-laden riffs with songs that I guess sound a little bit like Rattlesnake Woman mixed with Justified, and they progressed the songwriting again, which is what every album should do, in my opinion.
So it's basically a proven process or a proven workaround that you actually use, and if it works, you know, why get rid of it, sort of thing? Just to adjust it and change it slightly and make it more, I don't know, however you want to make it, so it's not exactly the same, but there must be a winning formula, if you like. There's only so many chords you can play, isn't there? So
I think the key thing is that this is the first record that we're writing together. You know, although the majority of the songs are songs that I've formed most of the kind of concept, this is the first record where I've sent demos to Laz and Felipe, and that, like, you know, Laz, you've sent me a lot of messages back, and you know, you sent me a message back about 6 weeks ago for a particular song, didn't you? You said that the riff was boring, and I thought that was great. You know, I've usually got usually people going, this is all great, and nobody needs that. You need somebody to go, actually, what you did say was, you said it's a bit boring, you can do better. So I did. I went away and wrote
Jack
a better riff.
Do better. Yeah, and that's all I hope to do. You know, just I think I know the quality of Jack's songwriting. I know that Jack can write a good riff, be it a blues riff, a rock riff, or a metal riff. And as Jack's just said, I'll tell him, because all of us, although like Jack said, he is the 100% primary songwriter. For the first time, all of our names are going to be on this album in some form or another of having contributed. So I want to think that if I can help in any way by just saying there's another riff in there, that comes from Tony, actually. Tony, who produced Who Feeds the Wolf. Whenever you do a take on bass, guitar, or drums, you do it, and you get to the end of, I remember doing Kiss Your Ass Goodbye, and I hit that final note, and I was there like, yes, recorded. And Tony went, yeah, good, Laz. There's one more in there. I'm going to hit it again now. So, yeah, but no, I mean, Jack sent over so many songs, and we've actually the demos, we've done the same as what we've done for this live album coming out. Jack sends a track, just him and his acoustic, him singing along to a click. Felipe downloads that song and records drums over it, sends it to me, or maybe back to Jack to put some more guitars on. I do the bass, I just do a very quick mix of it, and you've got a demo. And that has in itself accelerated the speed that we're getting these songs out, because like Jack said, must be 15 songs he's written. I think I've mixed 8 of them, and he sent us another one today. So it's just never ending. So there's so much material there.
You can't keep up. He keeps writing stuff like.
But do you know what my opinion with this is? That this is such a unique situation that we find ourselves in. That for the first time ever, really, everyone's kind of been forced to stand still for a bit. Everyone's so used to running at 100 miles an hour, doing so many different things, that it's actually allowed, well, this is me speaking, but it's allowed me a period of reflection. And, you know, I've spent 5 years working on my musical career and building up what I think is a great thing. But I've always been looking forward and never really reflecting backwards. And it's just been a weird period for the last 2 months to kind of do that. And I've written a lot of material that's quite self-reflective. And there's some material that, you know, I've written material that I've no doubt we won't play. You know, I've written material that is not suitable for what I want to put forward, and I might give that to other artists, which might be quite an interesting thing. I've written an acoustic album that we've talked about doing an acoustic album, haven't we, Laz and Felipe, for a while? So maybe that'll be the one after the next one. So we just got tons of stuff, and not all of it's great. Like, that's the thing. Like, you write a bunch of songs and 10 will stick and they'll be the best songs. But it's been an exciting period of trying to be creative. And although if I'd not done that, I don't know how I'd have coped over the last 2 months, because I think mentally this has been quite a challenging period for everybody. And, you know, being able to do these little Zoom calls with Laz and Felipe and have a bit of a virtual hangout and work on stuff has been great. And then when we channeled it into thinking about doing this live album, Who Feeds the Lockdown, I thought that was a really good thing to do. And as I said in like the press release quotes and stuff, that, you know, everybody's basically spent 2 months living online, and this is the point to put something back in people's hands. And what a better way to do it than get a nice purple vinyl.
I like that quote.
I think what you're saying as well, though, is the fact you can talk to each other, Zoom or Skype or however you do it, WhatsApp. Not just the fact you can make connections, but you can actually have a laugh with each other as well. Because you need that. Because you, on the road, you three guys have got such a bond, such a friendship, and, you know, brotherhood, if you like. And to lose that because of lockdown must be quite dramatic as well. So if you can actually see and chat with each other and have a laugh, throw ideas, that must be great. But also, Laz, when you were saying about you get the stuff, you mixed about 8 of the tracks so far, this lockdown situation must have honed your skills. So you're obviously, all 3 of you are getting quicker and quicker and quicker at each process. Yeah. So by the end of this lockdown, it's going to be instinctive.
Yeah, well, that's it. And on top of that, we figured out what worked and what didn't. So first of all, when we were recording Who Feeds the Lockdown, like Jack said, everything was done to get an authentic live sound. Everything was done in one take. But the first song we ever did was a mistake, because Jack sent himself recording over the original track, which we then sent to Felipe. But Felipe bases, I can't remember what we said, Felipe bases his drumming around Jack, no, the other way around. Jack bases some of his guitar playing on where Felipe is accenting the drums. So we thought, this isn't right that Jack's recording first. Let's rework this. Let's figure out what has to happen. So Felipe records first, then we send it to Jack, then it comes to me. And like you said, Will, it's now essentially very, very quick. You know, the first few tracks Jack sent over, there was no click. So I said, this is going to be really hard for Felipe to record to. So Jack, next time you do it, add a click in. And we learn.
Well, basically what we did was the Sleep Awake Obey video that came out.
You're right. Yeah,
that was the test. That was the test bed for all of this, and we worked really hard with a geezer called John Theobald who pulled that video together, and Laz did loads of work on the audio. You know, and as you say, Will, it's been a great experience to see people's other skills. Like, I didn't really know that Laz could do that level of production before. Felipe as well. You've done a lot of learning in terms of drum production, haven't you, Felipe? That
we got like a nice studio here in Camden. This is like the electronic drum set here, but I have an acoustic one with which I recorded Who Feeds the Lockdown, and I had to learn how to deal with the microphones and all the technology behind it, which I didn't used to care about. It was like, when sound engineer is going to do the job, or just go there and play drums. That was my approach. Now I had to learn so kind of become the sound guy myself sometimes. And I think it's funny because it's like in anything that requires technology to work. If you understand it better, and then you perform better as well. I mean, and it does affect how you do. Because you start playing and you think about it, oh, is that microphone going to actually get the vibe I want here? I mean, so it's a bit of the technology, your musical skills and your artistic view of what you want to achieve, and it all comes together.
So
And
when you haven't got to think about it, isn't it? When you don't have to think about it anymore, you just do it naturally and instinctively. You can relax and play your best, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So, but after, I mean, the first attempts are always like, I was always overthinking the process and trying to understand what was going on. And now, when we recorded the last few songs for It's a Lockdown, was more like, okay, this is a live gig. I'm going to go there and play. And what I did was pretty much like 2 sessions in which I've played my drum parts one after the other with a friend of mine who owns most of the gear I'm recording here. He was just playing like press and record, and I was doing like one song after the other and one take, and it was like sweating at the end of it. Like, oh, this feels like a gig. It's the closest we can. It's funny because everything we're doing during this lockdown period is try to somehow replace what we used to have. We want to get as close as possible to how does it feel to be on stage surrounded by people we like and enjoying the music. We miss that so much that we want to find a way to feel like we have a little bit of that. And
but Felipe, that's why I was going to say to you guys about McDonald's reopening. It means we can recreate being on the road. We could get a McDonald's at 2 a.m.
I'll drive to yours, Jack, yeah. Then we pick Felipe out from the station and head to Mackie D's.
So, I can spill some milkshake over Jack's car.
I was going to say, if you go there, as long as he stays in the house, you can just tip it through the window.
Do you know what, lads? I actually cleaned the car last week. I mean, I've not touched the car since we were on tour. That was a very unwise decision because I found there were McDonald's wrappers in the vehicle. I will admit that was on my side in the driver's. But I found a Costa cup that had like a half-drunk coffee in it. I think it was once upon a time a cappuccino. But yeah, I've learnt my lesson because basically the car smelt like mouldy cappuccino, and we've still got all of Felipe's drum kit in there as well.
Yeah, it's still there.
But eBay
got some gear, but
eBay.
Yeah.
Talking of Felipe, I understand you have some signature drumsticks. I saw a post today with a nice picture of these.
Yes, it was a bit of like a long way to get those sticks to the people who bought them, because Jack received the drumsticks and sent them to me with some plectrums, and I had to sign the sticks and then ship them to people who bought them, and they look gorgeous. They're like, wow. Funny or not, Jack only bought enough to sell to those guys, so I haven't got my own pair. So Felipe hasn't got his own signature sticks yet.
Can't you just sign a pair of drumsticks in your studio? That'll do.
Yeah, I don't have it here. So yeah.
Well, the idea with the sticks was because we've also got some bass plectrums as well. So we've all got these like signature things that we can give out to people at gigs. Actually, once we get back on the road, that was the idea behind it. But the drumsticks proved more popular than my guitar pick. So once again, we've established who is the most popular member of my band. Felipe.
The one at the back.
That guy.